afternoon all. Welcome to today's Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself Annie Jose from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. Cancer Healing Journey Talks helps cancer survivors and caregivers to share their journey with vast number of survivors and caregivers who have traveled or been traveling through this journey. This can inspire and motivate them for their faster recovery as well. I would like to introduce today's speaker, Ismat Gabula. She is passionate about inspiring and empowering women to take better care of their health, starting with breast health. She has spent the past 3 decades in the field of health working in diagnostic, ultrasound, and have also participated actively in the field of research working with Pfizer India and Dr. Shoaib Padaria as a project coordinator on multiple projects. Now, having been at the intersection of being a doctor in a rapidly evolving diagnostic field, a patient living through breast cancer treatment, and a cancer survivor with fresh eyes to revisit life's purpose itself, she is excited to bring it all together in her venture, BSc for Life. BSc for Life is an initiative to encourage women to take care of themselves proactively, primarily by breast self-examination to support early diagnosis, easier treatment, and significantly improve prognosis for breast cancer. In her spare time, she let her creative instincts run wild on canvas and paint for herself, family, and friends as well. So welcome to today's session, Dr. Ismat. So over to you.
Thank you, Annie. And hello to everybody who's watching. So yes, I am a doctor and a radiologist, and I have family history of breast cancer. So I was very aware that this exists, this disease does exist, and I was very careful throughout my life from a young age. I used to have nodular breasts, lumpy breasts as you call them, but what happened was, and so I used to take care. I used to get regular checkups. I used to see my gynac. After the age of 40, I was taking, doing the mammos. In those days, it was advised that every year or every second year after the age of 40, you should do a breast mammo. Now, of course, it's different. And now we say 45 and as indicated by the doctor every second year. So I used to do all of that and do my regular breast self-examination. Then in 2017, I missed 2016 end, I think it was. I missed my last mammogram. I missed doing my regular mammogram, and I was a little lax with my breast self-examination. After a few months, 3 months or so, I found a lump, and it was accidental. I mean, I was just having a bath and I just felt this lump in the 12 o'clock position, and I knew instantly that this is not nothing. This is definitely something here. And then I, of course, went into the the mode of doing everything, the examination, the checkup, and and then of course it was sure that this was definitely breast cancer. I found stage 2B. That means there was a lump which was about 2 inches in size, just below, but there were lymph nodes in the axilla. And of course, being a doctor, my friends, I'm telling them, no, this can't be it. And this is it. This is it. So, okay, then went to the next level. We finished everything. Life went into hold. I had plans. I had plans for my niece's wedding. I had plans to go to Alaska for a holiday with my family. Everything was on hold. I had to cancel it. Everything had to just shut down. But no, I said I will go for the wedding. I went and got myself a wig made before I went in for my chemo. So we had to do the chemo first. The idea of doing the chemo first, see, there are different things that we do. Either do the chemo, surgery, radiation, maintenance, or you do the, the surgery first. Depending on case to case, it depends on how much the cancer, how big it is, how much it's spread, and what kind of cancer it is. So we reached out to doing chemo first, which shrinks the tumor. And, you put a marker there that this is where the tumor was. And nowadays they do things like just a lumpectomy, so you don't have to take out the whole breast. But being a doctor and being aware and everything, but I was like, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to be done with it. I'm not having it in there. But when I read later, it is okay just to take out that area and go on. But you never know, right? So that's what we went with. But anyway, I went to the chemo. I got myself a wig. I went for the wedding. I did everything possible. And I came back and then I went into the next mode. It went on. Chemotherapy by itself was initially okay. We have very good medications now and they work well. And there are so many things to help you, tide over the side effects. Like for the nausea, they give you stuff. For everything, there is a help. So you don't get so messed up. But what you can't do anything about is the head, the brain fog that sets. Initially, it's all good. But as it collects and accumulates, it gets worse. And while you're in it, you don't know that that's what's happening. I felt I was fine. I was doing everything. I was very confident. I told my kids, I don't need you guys. I can take care of myself. And everybody was like, really, Mom? My husband said, whatever you want. So he let me be by myself and would be there to support me as and when I needed. And I was literally pushing people away, which is not really a good thing. So maybe that's something we have to keep in mind. You live and you learn. But at that time, I felt I was like, I can do this. So I actually said, I will write down the side effects and how I'm handling them and what happens at every time. With the chemo, it is very classical. What happens is first you don't feel anything, then you get this phase of pain comes in at some point, and then you get weakness and you get that nausea, all that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again the whole cycle starts. So every 3-weekly cycle I had for Taxol. Then after that we had the next one, AC. But then the Taxol time, it was terrible. So when I was given that medication, and it was supposed to be given every 3 weeks, so the doc was very keen that we do it in the way it was so that it gets the maximum effect, and I trusted him completely. But when I took it and I went home, I reacted really badly. So my hands and feet were on fire. I developed this hand and foot syndrome, and it's a rare one that happens. Doesn't happen to everybody. But I was one of those rare people. So it was horrible. I went and I told him, this is not happening. I don't want it anymore. So we took it off. He moved on and we took it a weekly dose of a lesser strength so I could actually tolerate. So that was good. And I passed through that time. But what it left me with was the neuropathy in my hands and feet, which is there till date. I still have it. I'm struggling with it. I'm working with it. But it is not gone. And I think Femara, what I'm taking as maintenance, adds to it. So, Femara is letrozole. So it's an additive thing. The other thing was the hair. You lose the hair, right? And if I can talk about that for a minute here. So we had to go for this wedding and I took that wig. And my youngest son, he said, Mom, I'll take care of it for you, because the hair started falling. And then it hurt really bad. And you can't have clumps of hair coming off, So then he took his razor and very strong young chap. He was like 23, 24. He took it all off for me. And then it felt better. So I wore the wig, but it was not very comfortable. So eventually I gave up on the wig and I used to wear these caps. I got these chemo caps and I used to wear those, or scarves, whatever. There are enough people now who are brave enough to go around without any head cover. I wasn't. So I needed some kind of cover. Especially because of my dad, because he was a doctor. He's a very senior physician. But he couldn't see me in that state, so he used to get very upset. In fact, he passed away just before I finished my last chemo. And I was very angry with him. I said, how dare can he go away like that? I need him. Each one reacts differently to cancer. So, I had my grandmother had cancer. She had leukemia, my nanny. So this is on the maternal side, right? Because that's where it's significant. My one Masi, my mother's sister, had breast cancer, and she had a tough time at the end. This was all in much earlier, right? When it was still not, the treatment was still not so good. And then another aunt who passed away with pancreatic cancer and mets and stuff. Masi. I'm talking about the maternal sisters, maternal aunts. So we had family history. So, I mean, dad had seen all that. I guess that bothered him the most. Anyway, and so that was where we were. Dad passed away. My kids came and hung out with me, toured in the US. So they came, they spent time. And my daughter, she was pregnant. She decided that she's coming in down for the surgery, and she insisted on staying in the hospital with me. And she wouldn't listen. She says, no, this is something I am doing. Okay. And at that time I shut myself up and I stayed quiet. So that was my journey with the chemo. Then came the surgery, and we did the mastectomy, and all was very beautifully done. The doctor's advice was very good. So they put in a pot. For the chemo, we put in a pot. The pot was put in from the opposite side, not on the same side as where the surgery was to take place, because then it interferes with whatever, all the working. So that was very good. And it was a little difficult for the surgeon to put in, because it was the left side. Usually they like to put it from the right, but he did it, and the whole thing worked beautifully. Because of the pot, I was protected from recurrent injections and damage to the veins and all those side effects. The pot was very magical, and it worked very well. The only thing we figured a little later was if I could keep my hands and feet and my scalp covered with ice packs, or cold packs or ice. We put napkins in the freezer, and then we would carry to the hospital and then put them on my hands and feet and my head. So that cooling helped from the chemo drug from not going into these high vascular areas, and helped me a little bit there. So that's something to keep in mind. Nowadays you get these cold caps for chemo when you're which you wear on the head during chemo, and it helps to prevent hair loss also. I was not aware, so we didn't go into that at that point. And then we went to the surgery, and the surgeon advised that let's do a implantation at the same time. But I was very weak from the chemo. I wasn't, if you do the surgery right in the beginning, so you're healthy, you're fine. It's just that cancer. So once you take that out, you can put something in. But after the chemo, your body is not that strong. It's got all these side effects in there. So we said, I'm not doing a insertion of a prosthesis and all that inside. It's a very long procedure, surgery. So we said we'll do it later, and we cancelled the idea. We just went with a mastectomy, modified radical. So they took out the lymph nodes and of course they advised the physiotherapy, and a lot of that was very, very important, because what happens is when they take out the lymph nodes, then the drainage from the arm is not really very efficient, and if the lymphatic drainage is not good, you can end up having lymphedema, and that's a big terror. So I was terrified. I'm not going to go there. So I used to do all there are various videos on YouTube also, and of course my physiotherapist was very good. She guided me. So doing all the the massaging and stroking, so that the lymph drainage is improved, and it goes into the right places. The lymph nodes are damaged there. Removed there. And the important part was, even if initially you don't get lymphedema, it can come in even after 2 years. So when this physiotherapist told me that, I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm doing this on a regular basis, and I have been. So it's important to remember this. All said and done, we finished the chemo, we finished the surgery, went for radiation. Radiation was not a big problem. Of course, the only thing was the skin was very sensitive. So you have to be careful about that. You get these creams. And of course, you don't get them in India. You have to order from abroad. Now, maybe they're available here. Of course, you can get them here, that the price is much higher. But anyway, I got hold of that cream because the burning sensation was insane. burning sensation was insane. I could not bear it. So I used to put all that stuff at the radiologist who was doing the treatment only advised, and that helped. Once we did that, finished with the radiation, then I was done. And then there was maintenance. I did not read books. I did not go into what has to be done next. And then I was told there is maintenance and it goes for 5 years. Then I started reading books. And then I started reading everything. Till then I was just like, whatever he says I'll do, I'll just go with the flow. I'm getting through this. Then I started reading, and there's this book by Dr. Susan Love, which is like a anthem or a Bible for, cancer, breast cancer. Like, it takes you from A to Z, absolutely everything. And so I started reading about things and what can be done, what should be done, blah, 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 etc. So it was good. And so then I was on Femara. During the process, I also found that I developed diabetes. So they give you a high dose of steroids to, keep all these side effects down. But what kicks in is the sugar. So then I developed diabetes. And then I figured out, okay, now I have to treat this diabetes. And of course, we worked on it. I was very upset, but whatever it was. All said and done, that was the treatment for that went on. So I was a hypertensive, I had hypercholesterol, I had hypothyroidism from before, and then add to that diabetes and maintenance for cancer. So all these things were going hand in hand. But I said, I'm going to get on with life. Problem was my arm. I worked with my right arm. My right arm is for my work. It's important, right? I do ultrasound, so I need to use it. And the pain and discomfort was intense. So I decided that now I can't do this anymore. And I took a break from working. I said, I won't go back to. Everybody was very sure, like they tried to convince me, go back and you'll be better and it's just a phase, etc., etc. I said, I'm done. I'm done with clinical work. I will do other work. And my focus was to spread awareness. Because when I was diagnosed with cancer, the first thought that came to me, if somebody like me, a doctor, somebody who knows what can happen, who has family history, who has taken so much care, can find it out at stage 2B. What about the others? So this is not right. It has to be sorted. Once it was confirmed that I had breast cancer, I sat with my phone and all my cousins and friends, whoever I could think of, I called them. I told them, please get yourself checked. Do this. Get your mammo done at least. Do it regularly. So what I do suggest to people is, take your birthday, because usually around your birthday, something clicks kind of. So say around my birthday, I will do my mammo. I will do my checkup. My health checkup as also. It's a regular thing. If you do a health checkup once a year, it's a necessity. So WHO basically advises once a year health checkup for a woman over the age of 20. Okay. Then it advises doing a breast self-examination on a monthly basis by a woman by herself after the age of 20. They advise doing a clinical breast examination by a trained person after the age of 20 once a year, a health exam checkup once a year, and then a mammo depending on how you are placed. If you have family history, then you get your clinical doctor to assess you, and then accordingly you get diagnosed, whatever. You get your test done, and otherwise every 2 years. Depends on how it is indicated. Of course, you have to remember mammos are the diagnostic tool to pick up cancer very early. That is the big advantage. 99% will be picked up, 1% won't. Okay, so you can be that 1% which will not get picked up. The second thing about mammos is they will cause radiation. So we understand that, and as radiation is, conducive to causing cancer, we don't want to have too much radiation going in. And for that, only when advised, you do the mammos. Especially young women, pregnant women, women in the childbearing age group have to be extra careful. You don't know sometimes if you're pregnant, you go get a mammo and then you're in a mess, because then how does that work? So you have to be extra careful. So that's about mammos. Now, then I decided I will do this. I will skip working as a clinical radiologist. I will take up a cause, and my cause was breast health awareness, for which I started a program called BSE for Life. BSE stands for breast self-examination, which is what? Something a woman does for herself, by herself, in her own privacy of her own home every month. What is the importance of this? You do it every month so that you get an idea of how your breasts are. You maybe have soft breasts, you may have lumpy breasts, you may have nodular breasts. I had nodular breasts. You can have whatever, but once you know how your breasts are, you know how it feels. And if you do it every month, if there is any change, you will pick it up early. What is the advantage of that? The advantage is early pickup of breast cancer. There is 100% survival for 5 years. See, we cannot prevent breast cancer yet. We have still to reach a place where we know what is the cause. That is not known. There are many things which are known that can, promote or increase the risk of breast cancer. But what causes it is not known. So how do we take that? So what do we do for that? We take care of ourselves. If I find a problem, I will go to the doctor. And that is very important. It is important to not hesitate. First is to check yourself regularly, and BSE is not very difficult. There are various YouTube videos. You can go to my channel, my website, bseforlife.com, and look at the how to do area, and it's not difficult. What you do at 5-10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes maybe max, once a month. And when is to be done? Just after your periods, 4 to 5 days after, because that's when your breasts are less tender. Sometimes there is increased tenderness, people have tender breasts. That's because of the hormonal changes, there's swelling and stuff. So once that subsides after the menstrual cycle, then it's easier to do. So once you do that on a regular basis, it becomes a cycle you do. The other thing is, if you don't get periods anymore, when you do it, pick the day of the month, maybe the 1st or the 15th, whatever suits you, maybe your birth date, and on that day you do the test. Yeah, a few days here and there, of course, doesn't matter, but don't try to do it on the same time, because the breast does change a little bit due to the hormonal changes, and then of course you will get a little confused. If you find something, what do? You should approach your doctor. There should be no hesitation. You don't sit and think about it. No, this is not hurting. No, it's so embarrassing. Why do I go to the doctor? What will I tell? I mean, like, why? That those thoughts come. It's just natural. But what is important is your family. If something, you find it at a later stage, you are going to suffer, your family is going to suffer, the finances are going to mess, and your life expectancy will go down. If you remember that, you will automatically go to the doctor. And the doctor, you don't tell them that, I've got a cough, cold, and I got this problem. But you can also check my breast. I think there's a lump. No. The idea is to say, I have this lump. Please help me and check out whether this is normal or not. Once you do all that, and the doctor finds there's nothing wrong, go home. But don't stop doing your breast self-examination. Because if you find a further change, then you need to get it checked out further, right? If the doctor finds something, they will send you for an ultrasound, and then, then the next thing, and the next thing, and the mammo, and then the biopsy. Without a biopsy, without a diagnosis, pathological diagnosis, you cannot say that this is breast cancer. You cannot go to the next level. You cannot get it treated. So that is where I started. I mean, I decided that this is something I'm going to do, and that's what I do. And I give talks to people about this. I talk mostly in English, but I do it in Hindi as well, as and when whoever needs to be told. Because all stratas of society get. It's not like the super rich are going to get it, or they are not going to get it, or the poor are not going to get it. No, you get it in all stratas of society. And what happens is women are just sitting on it and thinking, oh no, this can't be. It doesn't hurt. How can it be cancer? When it hurts, I'll think about it. It's important to know. Initially, cancer will not pain. Why? Because the growth is limited. When does it start hurting? When it grows enough to press on the nerves. When it gets into a space where there is some pressure, where there is some damage to the nerves, that's when the pain will start. That's by the time it's got spread. Maybe it's gone to the lymph nodes, maybe it's gone to the other breast. You don't know where it's gone. So if you find something and it's not painful, it doesn't mean it's not cancer. See, 80% of the lumps you will find will not be cancer. Okay? 80%. But 20% will. Now, do you want to be in that 20%? Right? So it's important to check ourselves. So that's where I was with my cancer journey. And then, but I wasn't able to and I wanted to do this so much, but the brain fog didn't go away. It took time. So by the time I started, but it was very slow, my whole program and process, the website development, and I did it all by myself, but it took a while. Finally, in this COVID time, I've been able to, proceed, and my brain has cleared up. And that's when I realized, oh shucks, this was what it was. That was the brain fog. It has gone now, So it took a time to settle down. But yes, I'm better now, and I'm managing to do this work and spread the awareness as much as I can, because my feeling is if I can make a difference to even one woman and help her, I'll have achieved something. Besides that, I do other things to keep myself busy. I love painting, so I paint. I love to do nature mostly, landscapes and birds and flowers and things like that. And I gift it to my friends and family. And then recently, I started this program with my husband, which is called Gabula. We have a Gabula Foundation, which we started. So with that, we are into educating people, basically children. We went for a holiday to Kashmir, and over there we met this school teacher who was totally committed to his children, and he wanted, for them to know more, do more. So he said, if y'all can send us books for them to read. We met a principal of a school in Srinagar, and she said the same thing. And so happens, we come back, and in my society, there was one lady who was giving away books because her children were older and they were done with the books. I said, yes, please give me. And I took those books from her, and some other ladies also gave me. And the whole, I got a good collection of books, and I sent them out to Kashmir. It's difficult to send to Kashmir, so you have to organize it through speed post and be very systematic, because it's a sensitive area. But we managed to do it. And the response, those people were so happy. The teacher started a library in his house for children, and he put the books in there, and the children would come and sit and read, and they were very happy. Basically for children from the 3rd to 8th standard. The teacher, school principal of a military school, she put it in her school and put a library there, and they were very happy. And when we wrote about it on our social media, the amount of books we got was insane. So we kept sending. They've made really big libraries now, and they're spreading it out to their other schools. Then they said, can you support us for notebooks and stationery as the new school year is starting? So we started doing that. And so under our foundation, we have other people contributing, but not taking any money from anybody. You contribute directly towards the vendors, and they will finance it. So we send them notebooks to some 300 odd students in Kashmir. Then somebody wanted textbooks, so we managed to send some 63 children textbooks, because that becomes a little more pricey. But we managed to do it, and that was good. And now Kashmir is in, it's the winter mode, so we couldn't, that part is a little bit on rest. But the books are still coming in. So what do I do? And I had this brain, this fantastic idea. So we found we have this municipal garden right behind our society. And I thought, why don't we put a library up there for children and adults to read? And I'm so blessed. I had this friend in my society who has connections, who knows people. So with her, Rotary Club of Lower Parel and the MCGM, Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai, everybody was on board and so helpful. We managed to do this thing. Within 15 days, we've managed to set up the library, In fact, yesterday was the 6th of February when he installed it. We had, and sad to say that we lost Lata Mangeshkar on the same day. So the whole thing got, very confused, and we were probably not able to do it. But everybody was so enthusiastic. They finished the cremation and they came later, because this gentleman is a member of the, Mr. Sunil Shinde is a member of the MC, Municipal Corporation, something. Yeah. He's a MLC, member of the Legislative Council. So he came, and the Rotary District Commissioner, and we started this library. Now we look forward to having many such libraries across Mumbai in the municipal gardens. The idea is to keep books there for people to come, take a book, read a book, and if you want to leave a book, please leave. And there are lots of people who want to give more books. So this is going to, and in all languages, in not only English, and in all subjects, not textbooks yet. We are working with just general books. So yes, this is where I am, and I have grandchildren who I love very much. So I like to do things with them. I do. They came to visit from California, and it was a wonderful time. So I do all that. I crochet in my spare time as well. Yeah, I think that about covers me and my activities. Yes, I come back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Ismat. That was a really inspiring talk. So I only have one question. So it might be a tricky question. So if you have to sum up your journey in one sentence, what would that be?
Okay. I don't think it's tricky. I think give me a second. I felt I had been given a lot in life, a lot. This was where I was asked to give back.
Okay.
And yeah, and I hope I can rise to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for the wonderful session. So I'm sure that the session will really inspire and motivate people out there who is currently traveling through the journey. So thank you so much for being a part once again.
Most welcome. Thank you, Annie.